Hi, Conrad White here with episode 25 of Success Council. Today we are going to continue on the theme of the free market solutions, making the government redundant in areas that its proponents claim it is indispensable. Today we are going to focus on money. I would like to describe just how horrific government-run fiat currencies are and how much death, poverty, war, and destruction they cause. This is a massive subject, and there is simply no way I can do this subject justice in a 5-minute YouTube video. However, if you wish to understand this process, we do have arguably the best video on the internet describing how this works. Just click the link in the description to view it. By the way, understanding this process and being able to articulate how central banks and fiat currencies work is the most patriotic thing you can possibly do. It's extremely easy to do if you watch the video linked in the description, and there is no greater gift you can give your family or country than being educated on this topic. But for this video, I am going to assume that you already know just how terrible the Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, World Bank, and all other central banks are. We will move right along to what would the free market choose as money if government got out of the way. Well, the first and most obvious choice is gold, or other precious metals. In fact, every time a government destroys their currency, it happens about every 3 to 5 years somewhere on the globe, the people turn to precious metals as money. For 5,000 years, whenever a government does not force us to use their paper money, we almost always turn to gold or silver to use as money. This is because it offers some tremendous advantages over all other forms of currency. However, it is not perfect. It does have some drawbacks. For example, it's expensive to store. It's expensive to transport. Because it is often kept in large vaults, it is very susceptible to fractional reserve lending, i.e., the fraud that occurs when a vault owner says they have more gold than they really do. But perhaps its least attractive quality is its susceptibility to violence. You see, as you will learn in the video if you click the link at the top of the description box, is that being the one who can define and create money is a very, very profitable business. The most profitable on the planet, in fact. Once a government or group of men have the privilege of being able to print money, then they will stop at nothing for that privilege. The profits are simply so great that they will corrupt the best of men. Those men with that power will use laws, police, armies, and anything else against anyone trying to compete against their monopoly privilege of creating money. That is why governments have legal tender laws. These are laws prohibiting you from using anything other than government fiat as money. The free market has tried many times to reintroduce gold as money, but because gold is so susceptible to violence, the government sends over men with guns to destroy its competition. GoldMoney.com and eGold were both services offered by the free market to make it simple and efficient to use gold as money. However, both companies, despite being welcomed by the public, were persecuted by governments until they either went out of business or turned off many of their services to avoid harassment by government. Violence is precious metals' Achilles' heel. So 4 years ago, the free market solved that problem too, thanks to an anonymous computer programmer calling himself Satoshi Nakamoto. Nakamoto invented a new currency, Bitcoin, that was perfectly impervious to violence. No amount of guns, no amount of violence, no amount of threats, none of the government's usual bag of tricks can ever stop Bitcoin being used as money by individuals who want to use it. Bitcoin has many positive features. It is free to store. It is free to transport. It is perfectly resistant to violence, inflation, and fractional reserve lending. It has become so popular that in just 4 short years, it has grown into a billion-dollar economy. In fact, early adopters have seen the value of Bitcoins they hold increase in value 17,000% in the last 24 months alone. Although these numbers are extremely impressive, the crazy part is that Bitcoin is still in its absolute infancy. The free market has many problems to solve for the young currency, but if those problems are solved, then many are predicting Bitcoin could increase in price another 1,000% over the next 24 months. Success Council's own Jared Dennis and Max Wright have co-authored the definitive work on Bitcoin, a book available exclusively in the Amazon Kindle store called The Bitcoin Revolution: Ending Tyranny for Fun and Profit. Bitcoin does have amazing potential. It may just succeed where the Constitution and the ballot box failed in limiting the size and growth of government. It has already proven to be the investment of decade and could still make incredible gains in the future, as Jared and Max predict. They first gave the recommendation to purchase Bitcoin exclusively to the Success Council members when in January of 2013, when Bitcoin was just $12. As of May 2013, the price is floating around the $120 mark. A 10 times return in just 4 months is pretty good by anyone's standards. Bitcoin is exciting because it is the free market solution to get the government out of an area where it is the most destructive: monetary policy. To learn more about Bitcoin, click the second link in the description box or search for the Bitcoin Revolution in the Kindle store. Next week, we will look at how the free market is making the government redundant in education. This is very exciting because our children's future is being destroyed by a disastrous education system in every country. If you have any questions about Bitcoin, just ask in the comments section below and I will answer them there. See you next week.